If I told you that you could lower your monthly expenses by 30, sometimes even 40% just by moving to East Tennessee, would you believe me? Most people don't until they actually start running the numbers themselves. And honestly, I didn't believe it either until I went through the process myself. But today, I'm breaking down exactly what it really costs to live here. The real numbers, not guesses, not internet charts, but what people relocating here are actually spending. So if you're thinking about moving to East Tennessee, whether it's in 9 days or 90, this video could save you months of research and probably a few $1,000s in surprises. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Heidi Hines, a local realtor, and I help people from all over the country figure out where in East Tennessee they want to live, what life here actually looks like, and how the cost of living compares to where they're coming from. And I'll tell you this, I completely understand the relocation decision. I've lived in different states, I've done the research, the spreadsheets, I've packed the boxes, and yes, I've gone through the whole "is this the right move" conversation in my head. And when I ended up in East Tennessee, the cost of living was one of the biggest surprises in the best possible way. So let's break it down so you can make an informed decision as well with real information. Let's start with the biggest category, housing. In East Tennessee, the sweet spot for most people is between $250,000 and $400,000. That number alone shocks a lot of people who are coming from, let's say, Florida, New York, California, Chicago, places where the average starter home might be $600,000, $700,000 or even more. But here's the important part. Prices vary dramatically depending on whether you're in the mountains or in a town in a short-term rental area. Cabins in the mountains, well, they may cost the same as a home in a subdivision, but they're built differently and long-term costs can vary. We'll talk utilities in a minute because that's a big deal for mountain homes. If you're looking at renting, you'll find monthly prices anywhere from $1,200 to $2,200 for most long-term rental homes. And then there's the investment side. If you decide to buy a home that can also operate as a short-term rental, sometimes your rental income can offset your mortgage. But that's a different conversation, and I do separate videos on that topic. Just remember, real estate is all about location, location, location. Now, property taxes. This is one of the areas where East Tennessee just blows other states out of the water. Tennessee has no state income tax, and property taxes here are extremely low compared to most states. It's one of the first things people comment on. Heidi, how is this even possible? If you're coming from the Northeast or the West Coast, the difference is dramatic, and for retirees especially. This alone can change your monthly budget. Just remember, property taxes vary by county. Sevier County is different from Jefferson, which is different from Cocke County or Knox County. But overall, Tennessee is one of the most affordable states in the country when it comes to property taxes. Let's talk utilities. This is the section people thank me for the most because it's one that tends to surprise people. Utilities in East Tennessee depend heavily on whether you're on city water or a well, sewer or septic, electric, heat or propane, and where your home sits on the mountain. A mountain cabin with big windows and high ceilings, gorgeous, but that electric bill in January is not the same as a one-story home in town. If you're using propane, that's a different cost structure entirely. And if you're in a remote area, you may be using Starlink or a satellite internet service. Most people spend a lot less on utilities than they did in larger cities or coastal states, but it varies. And I always want people to know what they're getting into. Groceries in East Tennessee are fairly typical, but eating out is where people tend to see savings. Breakfast at a local diner isn't $18 a plate. You can get a full meal or a family of four without feeling like you just took out a mortgage. We have plenty of options. for shopping, grocery shopping, Walmart, Food City, Publix, Ingles. Plus, we have amazing local produce stands and farmers market. And if you're in a rural area, you'll find Amish goods and meats that are incredibly affordable. Gas prices here tend to be lower than the national average, but the big thing to understand, you drive more, but you stress less. There's no major rush hour gridlock here unless you're near Pigeon Forge on a holiday weekend. No toll roads, insurance rates are generally lower. If you're in the mountains, you may want an all-wheel drive, not because it snows constantly, but because of the terrain. Healthcare is a huge factor, especially for retirees. Knoxville has a strong hospital system, and most smaller towns have clinics and urgent care centers. Out-of-pocket costs here tend to be a lot lower than in places like Florida. Most people moving here feel like they finally get quality care without the constant insurance battles. Insurance is another big factor. If you're coming from coastal states, especially like Florida, your jaw may drop. We don't have hurricane insurance. We don't have the constant windstorm claims. Flood insurance is only required in specific zones. If you're buying a mountain cabin or an investment property, you'll want a policy tailored for it, but overall, insurance here is far more reasonable. Now let's talk about the best part, the lifestyle, because this is where East Tennessee really wins. Outdoor recreation is basically free. You don't pay to hike. You don't pay to explore the Smoky Mountains. Fishing and hunting licenses are inexpensive. Dollywood season passes aren't outrageous. People tell me all the time their entertainment budget dropped by half because so much of what they love doing here costs nothing at all. East Tennessee is incredible for people who love nature, space, and a slower pace. Retirees, young families, remote workers, and investors will love it here. But if you want nightlife, luxury shopping, or a big metro lifestyle, this may not be your fit, and that's okay. The right place should feel like home. If you're thinking seriously about moving to East Tennessee, I would love to help you talk through your budget, the neighborhoods that fit your lifestyle, and what this move could look like for you. My contact information is below. You can call, text, or email me anytime. I'm Heidi Hines, and I hope to see you in the Smokies.